The hour was just a cigarette break shy of midnight. For the first time in this new decade, Metallica were about to unveil a new studio album, a self-titled collection that had already come to be known as the Black Album. As if this alone were not a cause for excitement, the band's decision to make their fifth album available to fans living in or near Hollywood gave the introduction of what was just one of literally hundreds of CDs released that year the feeling of a special occasion. At 1 minute past midnight, fans were let loose on the shop floor of the West Hollywood branch of Tower Records, a one-story building that looks more like a prefab shack than an emporium of the recorded arts. In 1991, Tower on Sunset was North America's most iconic record shop. As is the case with so many other record shops all over the world, today it is closed for business. The idea of allowing patrons to purchase an album from midnight on its day of release was not new, although it was still relatively unusual. In 1987, U2 had introduced their blockbusting fifth album, The Joshua Tree, at the branch of Tower Records in South Kensington, London. The difference here, however, was that while fans of the Irish band comported themselves in a manner befitting those whose tastes ran to thoughtful and considered Celtic rock, Metallica's crowd behaved like performers in a drunken am-dram production of Animal House. Come the witching hour, the scene within resembled a zoo in which the animals had been freed from their enclosures. A film crew was on hand to capture the chaos. Hands lunged towards boxes of CDs and cassette tapes as sales registers beeped like a symphony of smoke alarms. The album was also being pumped at a volume sufficient to dent skulls through speakers positioned throughout the air-conditioned store. For those not gathered on Sunset Boulevard, local rock radio station K-Rock broadcast news of the good-natured Stramash. For Metallica themselves, and for Lars Ulrich in particular, the symbolic chutzpah of this event would not have gone unnoticed. In August 1991, it had been almost 9 years since the group had packed up their possessions and left Los Angeles for permanent exile in San Francisco. During their short LA existence, the group had performed for small crowds in the city in which they had formed, their basketball boots finding little traction on LA's unforgiving thoroughfares. Metallica might have made their debut live appearance in West Hollywood, a two-set stand that comprised only the band's third and fourth concerts, supporting Barnsley's entirely unreconstructed Saxon. But in the time that had elapsed since this 1982 performance at the Whiskey A Go-Go, a club situated just yards from Tower Records, the quartet had not once returned to the Strip as a live act. In these earliest of days, Los Angeles had dismissed Metallica with the gravest insult in its arsenal. It ignored them. It was very lonely being Metallica in LA in 1982, that I can tell you, was how Ulrich recalled those times. But if his band had lost the battle with the city of Los Angeles, Lars Ulrich, James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, and Jason Newsted were about to win the war. Clutching a copy of The Black Album in his hand inside Tower Records, a young fan breaks with convention. Rather than looking into the camera pointed at his face and screaming the word Metallica with as much force as his lungs will allow, instead he offers a thought that neatly encapsulates one of the core beliefs of millions of the band's fans. Finally, he says, someone in metal is saying something right. With their fifth album, Metallica were also trying something new. The Black Album saw the quartet reverse their juggernaut from out of the overdeveloped cul-de-sac in which they had parked themselves and seemingly bricked themselves into with 1998's constipated and Justice for All set. This they did with a root and branch reimagining of their songs, their style, and their sound. That this was so was established even before the album was released. As the one member of Metallica who can be said to have had a vision, actually the vision, of what his band's next collection should sound like, Lars Ulrich also understood, as if by instinct, which song from the album should be its calling card. Almost a quarter of a century after the fact, it is unimaginable that the group would have chosen any song other than Enter Sandman with which to kick open the doors of the 90s. But the truth is that this was not something apparent to everyone in and around the Metallica camp. Towards the end